Expect from the local session. Stan Shamu from IG in Melbourne joins us now. Stan, good morning to you. Let's talk about the Nikkei to begin with. Entering bear market territory officially yesterday, down 6.4%. However, we are looking like we could see it recover some of those losses today. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. We are currently calling it up around 4.5%, so that'll see it trade back into that 13,000 level. Of course, yesterday it was the main source of volatility in Asia, and we continue to expect a lot of attention to still go on to the Japan front. Today they've got the monetary policy meeting minutes, so this should give a little bit more insight of what exactly their feeling is about this volatility at the moment. Of course, these are the minutes from the meeting. We just got results from earlier in the week, which actually sparked the sell-off that we've been seeing in the Nikkei this week. So this should carry a little bit of weight. We'll probably see a little bit of caution heading into that BOJ monetary policy meeting minutes, and that should be probably a bit of a kicker for the Asian session. Should we get a little bit more clarity and a little bit more confidence from the central bank about exactly how they will tackle this current volatility?
Stan, what's your take on the recovery we saw in US equities, breaking that 3-session losing streak and really bucking the trend across the rest of the globe on the back of that Asian sell-off? Is it a bit of a relief rally, or are investors in denial at the moment?
Yeah, it's a combination of a few things really, but I think a lot of the commentary I've seen out there has really pinned it on the fact that it's a little bit of a confidence booster for markets. But I think the main issue is it really did help stem the sell-off in the dollar yen. And that recovery in the dollar yen back above that 95 level, which is now trading at about 95.50, has really been what sparked the recovery in equities. Of course, with most of the volatility having been from Japan, then we did expect to see that the recovery in the dollar yen being the main focus for investors, and it's really pushed equities back into that firmly positive territory. As a result, of course, we do think that today might be a good day should Japan manage to hold on to this early gain that we're currently facing of about 4.5%. Of course, there's also that FOMC meeting next week, which will carry quite a bit of weight, particularly with a headline hitting the wires earlier. Just a Hilsenrath article suggesting that the Fed might look to push back its interest rates, its interest rate hike for a little bit longer. So this might be a source of volatility for the US dollar later today, but we'll need to get a bit more on that story before investors take it with a little bit more credence.
Just finally, can we get some opening calls from you for our local market? Of course, it's really been subject to the volatility we've seen in Japan's market, and we saw that yesterday, although not as bad of a sell-off as the Nikkei. But do you think today we could also see a little bit of a recovery here?
Yeah, absolutely. We're facing a 1% gain at the open at the moment, so that will see us trade back above 4,700, and we're likely to open about that 47.42 mark. So if essentially this will see us up 4 points for the week, and that's not a bad result really, considering where we were just a couple of days ago when investor confidence was completely shattered. And of course that massive recovery off yesterday's lows, which was right near the opening level of the year, was really a bit of a confidence booster for those bargain hunters out there, and it seems like bargain hunting will be in full swing today. Of course, there's a lot of these banks and other yield players that have been on investors' wish lists for a little while now, but they just couldn't afford them at elevated levels. So this might certainly attract a lot of that money from the sidelines, push up the banks a little bit, and that's exactly what we saw as well yesterday, going towards the back end of the session when the banks just stormed higher and really helped the market come off those lows. Unfortunately for the resource space, it's still a bit murky at the moment. We did have a bit of a recovery in iron ore, which was up to $112 a ton, and that's mainly because China is back online now. But most of the metals really didn't get a chance to react to that move on Wall Street, so they were still a little bit lower. But this shouldn't be a big problem for the market early on. We'll probably see a bit of support kicking in, and this should help the resource names as well. BHP is facing a gain of over 2% at the moment, so hopefully we'll be able to see the other iron ore players come in and enjoy such gains and help the market push higher earlier on. Unfortunately for the market, though, it seems like any major rallies in the short term will be greeted by a little bit of selling. I think that's exactly what investors are feeling at the moment, that confidence is just not there, and until we get more clarity from Japan and the US, then there's no point in being overcommitted on the long side of things. Just on the company news front, we don't have much at all today, but of course we've got ASX likely to come back online, and they'll probably drop in line with that capital raising that they had, and being at $30 a share, chances are we'll see it head quite a bit south to where it last traded. So that will be one of the most interesting stocks to watch today, perhaps. And of course the Aussie dollar is always in focus after a big jump overnight, having been relatively subdued after a better than expected jobs numbers reading yesterday. I think that will continue to attract some attention, particularly as it heads a little bit higher north of that 96 level. Then chances are we'll start seeing some sellers look at it with some keen interest.
Yeah, indeed. Stan Shamu from IG, always a pleasure to get your thoughts. Thanks so much. So as Stan mentioned, we're looking at a gain of about 1% at the open for our local market today, the ASX 200. Let's take a look at yesterday's session in a little bit more detail, though. Now, here's Ingrid Willinge.
And the S&P ASX 200 closed down around 0.6% and now moving below 4,700. You can see there at 4,600.